If you guys want to learn how to edit like this, then you came to the right spot, because in this video I'm going to be explaining the most efficient and best way I have found to edit all my perfectly synced montages. Alright, what is going on, guys? It is Sumo here, and most of you guys know me as the guy who makes perfectly synced montages, and in today's video I'm going to be explaining how I edit my videos. Now, the two plugins that I use are the Sapphire plugin and the BCC plugin. Both of these are not required but do help for what I'm showing on this tutorial, but other than that, let's get started. Okay, to start things off, the most important thing about a perfectly synced montage is marking the beats. You got to make sure you do these well, as it will determine how good the video comes out, so please make sure you pay attention during this part. The way I start off is I obviously import my music like so. Then once you get your music in here, you want to drag it down, and I usually turn the gain down a little bit just so it's not too loud. Alright, so you can see that our music is in here now. So what I like to do is I like to drag it down a little bit so you can see all the audio waves just a little bit better. The main thing you need to know about marking your beats is that on Vegas Pro 16, you press M to place a marker. So depending on the song, you really have two options. You can either mark your beats to either the lyrics or the beat in the background. A lot of the times I like to do it a little bit of both, just so that it's not too repetitive. But you can see the big audio waves right here is what you're kind of looking for. This will determine where the beats are. So you just want to give this a listen and then mark the beats as you hear them. So if we give this a listen, you'll hear the beat drop. So when you get to here, you want to place your marker right as the audio wave gets higher. So after this, you're going to keep listening and find what other beats you would like. So you can hear that bass in the background. That's kind of what I'm looking for on this, as I think it's going to stand out a lot more. So I kind of look for the audio waves and I give it a little listen. I can see this is the next beat. So I go for this one, and I believe this is the last one, and we'll listen all together. Alright, so just like that, you have 4 of the beats marked, but I like to let the beat stand out a little bit more. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually edit the audio just a little bit. Alright, so if you guys are using Vegas Pro 16, you guys can see exactly how I'm going to edit this audio. But what you want to do is press this little FX on the audio wave, and then go down to Express FX Distortion. You want to add that and press OK. Alright, so I have a preset, so if you guys want to copy these settings and make it sound a little bit more bass boosted is what this does, feel free to copy this. I feel like this just makes the beat stand out a little bit more and helps out with the perfectly synced video. So obviously I'm not going to mark all the beats, as I'm just doing a little bit of a tutorial, but if you guys wanted to go through, you can mark all the beats by yourself and figure out where all the markers should be placed. But for the next step, I'm going to be showing the audio that I use and all the pump effects that I add on. So what I like to do is I go to my audio and I have these 3 audio effects. All 3 are very helpful for perfectly syncs, and I will link all of them down below in the description. But basically the 3 effects are a pump shot, a critical elimination shot, and a swoosh sound effect. The swoosh sound effect obviously is just a little bit of an extra thing, and then the spaz and the crit elimination just make the shots stand out a little bit more than normal. Okay, so I took the 3 audio effects and I moved them onto their own layer. I like to mess with the gain a little bit on each layer. I usually turn the pumps down to about 13, the critical elimination down to 24, and then the swoosh down to about 7 or 8, depending on how loud the song is. The swoosh is actually not something you're going to want to use on every beat, but only for like the main beat drops to make it kind of have like a little bit of a build up to it. And then the pump and the critical elimination you're going to want to put on every marker that you place. Okay, so something that I like doing is I like just trimming down the pump sound effect to the same size as the crit elimination. Maybe just a little bit of an OCD thing, but I think it makes it more organized. And then you're going to copy the pump and the critical elimination sound effect, and you're going to paste them on every marker that you have. As you guys can see, we have all the audio done for this montage, and it makes it sound like it perfectly synced. Now the next thing that we need to do is add the clips and effects, and we should be done. Alright, so I'm going to go find 4 clips that I want to import and show for this montage. Okay, so now that I got all my clips imported and trimmed, the first thing I like to do is turn the gain down on this as well to about -10. This helps so that it's not too loud and that the pump sound effect still overrides the actual pump in the clip. I'm actually going to edit the last 3 clips first, as the first one has a lot of effects on it and it's going to take some more time, and this is more of the general perfectly synced montage part. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to drag the trimmed clips over to the left where your beats are, depending on how many clips and markers you have. You're going to determine which clip you want on each marker. Now that I determined which clips I want in what order, I'm going to start dragging them onto the markers and figure out where to line them up. So the main thing about lining them up is I like to drag it until you see the pump being fired. So you want to just keep dragging until you see that right there where the pump is being shot. Once you line it up to where the pump is starting to be shot, I usually like to go about 0.20 seconds. You can see this clock right here, about 0.20 seconds over the clip and stop it there. To go about 0.20 like that, and then just delete the rest. So I'm not going to mess with the beginning of the clip. I might drag it out just a little bit, but I want to leave some room for this clip just so that we make sure we have enough space. All right, so what you're going to do from here is you're going to take your next clip and you're going to try to line it up with the first pump shot as well. So obviously you can see me right there shoot my shotgun. You would just, it's always good to double check to make sure it's on with the shot, and then you're going to drag it back to where the last clip was, and then again you're going to count 0.20 over and trim it there. So the reason why I like trimming it about 0.20 seconds after the clip is because it keeps it consistent throughout the whole montage, and it's not all different levels and lengths of clips, and makes it look a little bit more clean in my opinion. Okay, so one thing I do like to do is if there's a big break in between each beat, as you can see there's a beat right here and a beat right here, I like to do 0.30 seconds instead of 0.20 seconds because it kind of stops the short amount of beats in that section and moves on to a different section. So as you can see, it's at 0.55, so we'll go to 0.25, which is right here, and then we'll just stop it there. So that's the general idea for the shorter clips of the perfectly synced montages that I like to do. Obviously I use that a lot throughout all my videos, but now we're going to work on the first clip with some of the effects as you guys have been seeing in my recent montages. Alright, so obviously the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to drag your clip and line it up with the beat. Just like I said before, you want to try to grab that first pump shot, which is right there, and line that up with the beat. And for a long beat drop, I like to extend it longer than 20 or 30. I usually do about 0.40 or 0.50. So we're going to go to 0.59, which is right there. So now that we got it at 0.59, we can actually drag the last clip back too. So now we got all clips lined up and we can work from here. All right, so I'm going to play the clips with no effects or editing at all, just so you guys can get a sense of what it looks like. Alright, so obviously it's nothing crazy, but it is the perfectly synced. You can see that the shotgun clips are on beat, and that's the main part of it. But now we're going to add some effects to that first clip, which will hopefully make the montage look better. Okay, so the main thing that I like to do on big beat drops that helps make the video stand out, in my opinion, is add this shockwave effect. I'm going to link this down with the Google Drive as well, but it's a big thing to like just kind of make the clip pop a little bit and satisfying. So the first thing you want to do is you're going to obviously drag it in, and I like to disconnect the audio and get rid of that, and you can kind of just mess around with it. I put it on the marker like this. You can drag it to the right to make it longer, or drag it to the left to make it quicker. All right, so what you're going to want to do is you want to click over here on these three bars, and you're going to want to go to edit visible button set, and then I like to press show all, which shows all these buttons here. Once you get to here, you click on this A and you go down to screen. This will help make it so that the shockwave effect is only shown and not a black screen behind it. Alright, so the one effect that you're going to want to add to the shockwave, which I enjoy a lot, obviously you don't need to, but this is where the BCC plugin pack comes in. You're going to want to grab the LED and drag it on top. And usually you want to keep it within the 13 to 15 range. I'm probably going to try 13 on this one, as I think 13 looks good. But what this does, it adds like this LED effect to the shockwave, which makes it look a lot cleaner. Okay, so the next thing that I'm going to do is, which I usually like to do before I do the shockwave, but I did it a little bit different this time, is you're going to want to add velocity. So just copy the steps I did there to get the velocity on the screen. And I usually click 4 arrow keys back before the marker, 2 after, and then 6 after. So this will give like a nice velocity. What you're going to want to do is you're going to set the middle point to 175, which I think is a good speed, and then set the last point 60%, and then this will add a little bit of a speed up to a slow down, so it looks something like this. Alright, so something I did real quick is I split the clip on this middle velocity point. You just click on it and then you press S on the clip, which should split it. Alright guys, so we're almost done. Real quick, we're just going to add a couple more effects. You're going to want to look up S_blur in your effects and drag it down. You guys only have the default if you don't have any presets, but you can copy this right here. Alright, so then what you're going to do is you're going to press this little clock with the green plus over here, and you're going to go about 0.8 seconds I like to go in, and add a keyframe there, and you're going to click on this keyframe and set it to 0 so that it kind of just fades out of the blur, something like this. Alright, so as you guys probably saw, there was a little bit of blur there. And the next one you're going to want to look up is flicker. I like to take the sapphire flicker, and again I have a preset which you guys can copy right here. So I'm going to scroll down so you guys can copy all these settings and have the same exact thing that I do. Alright, so you wanted to kind of do the same thing in the sense of pressing this clock with the green plus, and I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so we have room to work with. And I go to about the middle of the clip and I press the add keyframe down here, and then click on the first one and set the amplitude to 0. And what this should do is it should give it like a little bit of a flicker effect. Alright, I felt like there was a little bit too much of a flicker there, so I'm actually going to go back and I'm going to set it to 0.25, which should help make it look a little bit more calm and not over edited. Alright, I think that's it for this montage, so I'm going to play this one more time for you guys to see what it turns out. Please let me know what you guys think of these type of videos. If you guys can get this video to 5K likes, I would think about releasing a part 2 to this and doing more of an advanced tutorial on some of the tips and tricks that I do with reverse clips and more of that. Other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I appreciate those who watched the whole video. Hope you guys learned something from this video, and I will see you guys soon.
Yes, out of eyes tryna put me on a t-shirt. Shorty want me so bad, do your knees hurt? Yeah, I'm counting paper guap in my beam.